Good afternoon, students. In the previous class, we have already discussed about high energy rate forming processes, their principles, advantages, disadvantages, applications, and some of the high energy rate forming techniques such as explosive, electrohydraulic forming, then electromagnetic forming. All this comes under. Among these, explosive forming we have already discussed. Then, so explosive forming parameters, then elements, advantages, disadvantages, all we have discussed. However, we will review the same topic and continue the remaining techniques of electrohydraulic high energy rate forming processes. So as we already discussed, then the forming process are affected by the rates of strain used. Then flow stress increases, strain rates increases, temperature of work is increases due to adiabatic heating, improved lubrication, lubricating film is maintained. If many difficult to form materials like titanium, tungsten, and other harder metals can be formed. Then related to the principle, then the energy of deformation is delivered at a much higher rate than conventional practice. Larger energy is applied for a very short interval of time. High particle velocities are produced in contrast with the conventional forming processes. The velocity of deformation is also very large, and hence these are also called high velocity forming process also. Then large parts can be easily formed, and many metals the elongation of fracture increases with the strain rate beyond the usual metal working range until a critical strain rate is achieved where ductility drops sharply. The strain rate depends on strength increases with increasing temperature. Yield stress and flow stress at low plastic strains are more dependent on strain rate. So, however, these principles are temperature behavior and temperature behavior principle, and along with this time dependent and temperature dependent variables and our behaviors are considered for energy rate forming. All advantages, disadvantages, limitations, all we have discussed in the earlier class. Then among the explosive form, a very high energy through the water media, it is means high velocity, high pressure energy, it is transferred over the material kept on the die, form the material into the desired shape and size. Then all principles we have discussed. Then so there are two types of explosive forming techniques. One, it is unconfined or standoff technique, another one is a confined or a contact technique. Their principles with respect to the schematic diagram all we have discussed in the earlier class. Then so coming to the another technique, that is electrohydraulic forming. Then so electrohydraulic forming, the principle of electrohydraulic forming, a sudden electrical energy discharge in the form of spark is produced between electrodes, and this discharge produces a shock wave in the water medium. This shock wave deforms the work plate and collapses it into the die. Then the characteristics of this process are similar to those of explosive forming. The major difference, however, is that a chemical explosive is placed by a capacitor bank which stores the electrical energy. The capacitor is charged through the charging unit. When the switch is closed, a spark is produced between the electrodes and the shock wave, or a pressure pulse is created. The energy released is much lesser than the released in explosive forming. However, the schematic diagram of electrohydraulic forming, it is kept here. Then you look at the circuit then connected to the capacitor bank that releases high velocity, high pressure energy on the work part, then kept on the die surfaces in the water media, form the part into the desired shape. Then as we said, then a sudden electrical energy in the form of spark is produced between the electrodes, and this discharge is produced a shock wave in the water media, clearly shown in the figure. Then the shock waves deform the work plate and collapses it into the die. Then so the characteristics of this process are similar to those explosive forming. The major difference, however, it is that chemical explosive, it is formed or placed by a capacitor bank which store the electrical energy. The capacity is charged through a charging unit when the switch is closed, the spark is produced when the electrode and the shock wave or pressure pulse is created. This high energy, high pressure energy at high velocity is transferred over the work part. The energy release is much lesser than that released in the explosive forming. All we have discussed in the earlier case. Then coming to the process parameter, the are characteristic. Then stand-up distance, it must be optimum, not more or not less than. Capacitor used, the energy of the pressure pulse depends on the size of the capacitor. Means high energy it is required, therefore energy it is stored and direct energy it is applied simultaneously over the work part through the electrodes. And transfer media, usually water is used. Then vacuum, then the die cavity must be evacuated to prevent adiabatic heating of the work due to the sudden compression of air. Then material properties, with regard to the application of high rates of strain, all metal can be formed, but normally materials makes slightly less less ductile can be formed with the electrohydric forming. This is similar to the explosive forming as we said, but high energy required for the operation is released from a high energy spark discharge instead of explosive. Also, this process takes place under the water and hence termed as the electrohydric forming. It is also known as known by like underwater spark forming or electric spark discharge forming. All it is can be identified with the help of a figure. Then you look at the figure, you will came to know this electrohydric forming process principle. The process is widely used for bulging operations in small parts for small scale production. It is also used for forming dental plates in stainless steel and many tubular and flat shaped components. The principle of operation, it is such that initially electric energy is stored in the capacitor bank and then discharged in a controlled manner between two electrodes in a water tank. This produces a high energy spark between the electrodes. The spark intensity is so high that it causes instant heating of water and leads to its ionization. This causes the formation of high energy, high temperature gas bubbles with about 4 microseconds. Since the speed of expansion of bubbles is greater than the speed of sound, then it generates shock waves in a water. These shock waves are enough to cause deformation in a work part kept on optimum stand-up distance in the die. Then method of conversion, as we know in electrohydric forming, electric energy is converted into mechanical energy. The two methods are available for this energy conversion, namely gap discharge and wide discharge. In a gap discharge, the energy is dissipated in a spark energy between the two electrodes which are not contact. In a wide discharge, an exploding wire is bridged between the electrodes. This method has a positive and known path energy is discharged and hence more efficient. Also, it requires lesser voltage of the order of 4 to 8 kilowatts as compared to the gap discharge. However, these two techniques can be used in. The types of electrohydric forming operations are, there are two operations as we already said about gap discharge and wide discharge, and it is exactly similar, but only the thing is that the gap discharge in the wire, then normally wire it is connected and used for sheet metal forming and tubular part forming. Then in operation, the workpiece is immersed in water and it is filled with water with electrodes. The electrodes are connected through a switch to a bank of capacitor. So as I said, then types of electrohydric forming operations, there are two types of operations. One setup is for forming sheet metal and the second one it is for forming tubular parts. The electric setup is common for both the operations except the capacitor of the capacitor banks. The amount of energy required in free forming is very large as compared to the tubular forming. So in operation, the workpiece is immersed in water or filled with the water with electrodes. The electrodes are connected through a switch to a bank of capacitor. The capacitors are charged from power rectifier unit through a charging resistor to a predetermined level of energy. When the switch is closed, the energy stored in the capacitor bank is discharged across the gap between the electrodes. This discharge leads to high energy spark, which in turn causes the sudden heating and ionization of water and produces a very high energy shock waves in water. These shock wave energy applied on work part bring in the forming action depending upon the die shape. In tubular forming, the shock wave energy spreads all around. In the shock wave energy applied on the work part brings forming depending upon the die shape. In tubular forming, the shock energy spreads all around, causing the cylinder to take the bulging shape. Where in free forming of sheet metal, the shock will travel toward the blank under hydrostatic pressure and cause the forming processes. However, forming action as per the shape of the die cavity, similar to the stand-off explosive forming operation. In this case, also the die cavity is evacuated to facilitate easy forming and good surface finish of the component. Then components of electrohydraulic forming system. Some of the important components of electrohydraulic forming system are capacitors, power supply, die assembly and vacuum pump. These are discussed one after the other with respect to the figure. The capacitors, first element it is a capacitor. The capacitors are the energy storage means in electrohydraulic forming. The size and capacity of the capacitor bank depends upon the energy required for forming operation, and hence is a factor of blank size, thickness and material properties. The energy stored in a charged capacitor is given by the relation E is equal to half CV square, where E is energy stored, C is the capacitance in microfarads, energy stored in joules then, and V the charge voltage in volts then. Thus the power supply unit of 20 kilowatt is used with 100 microfarad capacitor bank. Then the energy available for electrolytic forming, it is the order of 20 kilojoules. As can be seen from the energy equation, energy output can be easily adjusted by controlling the charge voltage since it is squared term. Generally, the limit of charge voltage is the order of 40 kilowatts. The capacitor should be capable of quick discharge so that the peak pressures are developed in the forming operation. For this, the inductance of the capacitor and the circuit should be as low as possible. These are all related to the capacitor. Then coming to the power supply, capacitor banks in electrohydraulic forming are usually charged with 220 volt supply using a set up transformer and a rectifier unit. The cycle time of the system depends on the time taken to charge the capacitor between the two charges, which in turn depends on their capacity and current supply. The cycle time are usually in the range of 6 to 10 seconds and the range current is of the order of 250 milliampere. The required high current is controlled by the charging resistor. The charge voltage is determined based on whether an initiating wire is used between the electrodes or not. Without wire discharging or only between the electrodes, the electrode should be charged off about 20 kilowatt. When an initiating wire is used, the capacitor charged between 4 to 8 kilowatt is good discharge between the electrodes, gives a very good result. Coming to the die assembly and the die material, the tooling equipment required in electrohydraulic forming are same as that of explosive forming. For better finish and heavy operation, steel and other metallic dies are used. Metal dies also give a larger life for small scale operations. Plastic, plaster, Paris and cement dies can also be used. For tubular forming, split dies are used. In free forming of blanks, the workpiece and die are clamped to the blank holder, which can be used as the water container. As mentioned earlier, die cavity evacuation is essential for perfect operation of defect-free compound, a defect-free product. Between the blank and the die, there is a need for scaling to avoid leakage then of water into the die cavity. Then coming to the vacuum pump, similar to explosive forming, an efficient vacuum pump is an essential part of the electrohydraulic forming process. So electrohydraulic forming process. So vacuum creation is necessary in the die cavity to avoid heating of the entrapped air due to the adiabatic compression while the part is being formed under shock waves. Under subsequent burning or puckering of the work surface at the die cavity and die cavity surface. Also, air if present would cause the cushioning effect, thereby reducing the effect of impact on the work part and may not allow the work part to get formed fully to the die cavity shape. Then once a sufficient vacuum is created in the die cavity, that part takes the clear die cavity shape under the shock loads. So as I said about the process variables, some of the process variables in electrohydraulic forming which affect the forming operations are gap between the electrodes, bridging characteristics and size, the stand-up distance, hydrostatic head, cycle time of discharge, electrode characteristics, power supply characteristics, work part characteristics are all process variables as we discuss with the elements of this electrohydraulic forming process. Then coming to the advantages and disadvantages of this process, it is better control of pressure pulse as source of energy is electrical, which can be easily controlled, safer in handling than explosive materials, more suitable if the work size is small to medium. Thin plate can be formed with smaller amounts of energy. The process does not depend on the electrical properties of the work part. So nothing but what it is a much safer and easier to operate as compared to explosive forming. In addition to forming, piercing, blanking operation of odd shapes can be formed. There is a negligible thinning effect compared to conventional forming methods. It is an economical and simple operation. It can be formed with the indoor setups which are not possible in explosive are all advantages of this hydroelectric high energy electrohydraulic forming process. Coming to the disadvantages, suitable only for small work parts, need for vacuum makes the equipment more complicated, proper stand-up distance is necessary for effective process, cycle time are longer, chances of electrical hazard due to high voltage involved in operation, large size capacitors are required which occupy more space. For parts having critical impact velocities less than 30 meters per second, electrohydraulic forming is not suitable. Materials with low ductility can be formed with this. These are all limitations or disadvantages. Coming to the applications, they include smaller radar dish, cone under other shapes in thinner and other small works, small to large size parts of general engineering requirements can be formed, most suitable for bulging operations of false parts. Large parts up to 1.5 meter dia blank sizes can be free formed. Operations like beading, drawing, blanking and piercing can be formed with this electrohydraulic forming process. These are all concepts about electrohydraulic forming process. Then coming to the electromagnetic forming then. So electromagnetic forming, in which the electrical energy stored in capacitor bank is used to produce opposing magnetic fields around the tubular workpieces surrounded by a current carrying coils. The coil is firmly held and hence the workpiece collapses into the die cavity due to magnetic repelling force, thus assuming a die shape. This is a principle of electromagnetic forming. It is clearly shown in the figure. This is another electric energy based on forming process and similar to electrohydraulic forming. This is also termed as a magnetic pulse forming, as the electric energy is dissipated in the form of high flux magnetic field and are used for forming operation. The principle of operation, one of the fundamental principle of electrical technology, states that when a current flows through a conductor, a magnetic field is established around the conductor, the strength of the field being proportional to the magnitude of the flowing current. This is the same principle which is used in the electromagnetic forming operation. In the conductor, if the current and the magnetic field changes, then the current is induced in any other conductor placed in the field. The direction of the induced current is such that magnetic field associated with it opposes the changing magnetic field, producing it. The two magnetic fields make the conductors to be repelled in electromagnetic forming. One conductor is the magnetic coil through which the energy is discharged, giving rise to the rapid magnetic field. The second conductor is the workpiece itself, in which eddy currents are induced. These gives rise to the second magnetic field, and when they interact each other, make the workpiece repel from the coil in a controlled manner at a very high speed. Forming action takes place due to the high kinetic energy of the workpiece impact on the mandrel. Then electrohydraulic magnetic setup, it is shown in the figure. A setup of electromagnetic forming is similar to the what electrohydraulic forming, except for the energy discharge. Initially, a large amount of electrical energy is built up in a capacitor bank, similar to electrohydraulic forming. Instead of discharging energy across the spark, in this operation, the energy is released through a coil, leading to the rapid buildup of magnetic field to an extremely high flux density. This in turn induces a high current in the workpiece placed within the coil. It is shown in the figure. A shaped insulated mandrel is placed in the work part. Since the insulated mandrel does not allow the field to pass inside the workpiece, the induced magnetic pressure acts only on the outside of the part. As the two fields repel each other, the workpiece is acted with great radial momentum against the mandrel. By interposing the insulated mandrel between the coil and the workpiece, the work part can be forced into the opposite direction, as it is illustrated in the principle of electromagnetic forming. And then the process details: electrical energy is stored in the capacitor. Tubular workpiece is mounted on a mandrel having a die cavity to produce shape on the tube. A primary coil is placed around the tube and mandrel assembly. When the switch is closed, the energy is discharged through the coil. The coil produces a varying magnetic field around it. In the tube, a secondary current is induced, which creates its own magnetic field in the opposite direction. The directions of these two magnetic fields opposes one another, and hence the rigidly held coil repels the work into the die cavity. The work tube collapses into the die, assuming its shape then. So all these are the important characteristics of the process. Then coming to the parameters, normally a repelling force, it is calculated by using b square by 8 dyne per centimeter square in this case. However, workpiece then electrical characteristics, workpiece characteristics and die characteristics also will discuss. Then the electric setup of EMF, means electromagnetic forming, is similar to electrohydraulic forming. As I said, the main source of large amount of energy is a bank of capacitors charged to a predetermined potential. The energy is discharged rapidly through the coil. The link between the coil and the workpiece is purely inductive, that is, current is induced in the workpiece. A repelling force between the two conductors causes the forming action against the mandrel. This repelling force depends on the current in the workpiece, and hence on the rate of change of current in the coil. The repelling force is given by the relation B square by 8 dyne per centimeter square, where B the flux density in the magnetic coil. In usual forming operation, the flux density is in the order of 300 kilo gas, which develops an equivalent pressure of about 3500 bars. Typical timings for capacitor charging is to 2 to 3 seconds, and discharge rates are 10 to 20 microseconds for usual electromagnetic operation. Then workpiece characteristics. Since the second conductor is the work part, it needs to good electrical conductor. The forming efficiency improves with high conductivity of the work part. Thus, electromagnetic forming is highly effective for metal parts made of copper and aluminum. For the forming of less conducting materials like stainless steel, drivers made of copper or aluminum are interposed between the coil and the workpiece to get the effective forming pressure. Then die and their characteristics. Die materials for electromagnetic forming must be insulating type. Thus should have an electrical conductivity as low as possible to reduce magnetic cushioning effect. Generally, epoxy resins and certain plastics are used as a die materials. The die materials should have a good impact resistance and should give a high surface finish on the final component. Evacuation is to be provided wherever feasible in the die cavity for the better forming results. All these are the characteristics of electromagnetic forming. Then coming to the process parameters or process variables, workpiece size, electrical conductivity of the material, size of the capacitor bank, the strength of the current which decides the strength of the magnetic field and the force applied, insulation on the coil, rigidity of the coil, and along with this line supply characteristic like voltage, frequency and current, gap between the coil and workpiece, magnetic coil geometry, inductance of the circuit, cycle time of the discharge, workpiece characteristics. All these are the parameters or variables of electromagnetic forming. Then coming to the advantages, there is no physical contact between the workpiece and the applied energy, nothing but about magnetic field. No friction between energy source and the work part, hence no need for lubricants and thus higher efficiency. Forming is due to magnetic field energy, hence no forming marks on the work part. Unlike explosive and electric discharge forming, repetitive forming pressures can be applied on the work part in the planned manner. The process is simple, clean and safe. However, suitable for small tubes, operations like collapsing, bending and crimping can be easily done. Electrical energy applied can be precisely controlled and hence the process is accurately controlled. The process is safe compared to explosive forming. Wide range of applications are all possible then. Then limitations or disadvantages. Applicable only for electrical conducting materials, not suitable for large workpieces. Rigid clamping of primary coil is critical. Shorter life of the coil due to large forces acting on it. Mostly suitable for circular parts like rings, tubes and cylinder. Not free from electrical hazards. Large size capacitors are required. Not easy to form complex shapes, not fully suitable for free forming. All these are the limitations or disadvantages of electromagnetic forming. Then related to the application, crimping of coils, tubes, wires, etc., bending of tubes into complex shapes, bulging of thin tubes. Any good conducting material can be formed to simple shapes involving bulging and assembly operations. Limited size shearing and piercing operations are possible. In aerospace and automobile industry, electromagnetic forming is used for assembling high pressure hoses duct covers on shock absorbers, covers on heat exchangers, etc. Attachment of rubber boots to all joints in machine tools and automobile industries in a regular application. Tubular members can be joined to end fittings by magnetic squeezing operations. Electrical connections on ceramic sleeves are um, performed by electromagnetic forming. Assemblies of torque shafts, control rods, and linkages are made by electromagnetic forming in aircraft industry. In nuclear industry, fuel rods are sealed using sheaths by electromagnetic forming. All these are the what concepts related to the what electromagnetic forming. With this high energy rate forming processes have completed, then among those explosive, electro-hydraulic forming, electromagnetic forming are very important. So with this three full modules in of 100% and remaining two modules of 50% we have covered, then students can able to what answer all the questions for 100 marks. Then so therefore it is advised for all the students to practice more, read more, work hard, then can able to what score more marks in the examination. However, with this will conclude the what metal forming subject then. So thank you all. Good luck then. Once again, best of luck then. Thank you then.